I would like you to sit with me for a few minutes. Have a cup of tea or coffee while I explain what we are doing on this YouTube channel. When telling story to children, you can actually pause and see if they can tell you what's coming next. So you could pause and expect the word that comes next from the children, or you could say to them, "What do you think comes next?" I'm going to read a short piece from the Harry McClary book and as an example. They sniffed at the smells and they snooped at each door when suddenly out of the shadows they saw. What do you think they saw? Scarface Claw, the toughest Tom in town. And if the children are familiar with the book, they will say, "Scarface Claw, it's Scarface Claw." I am a retired primary and early years teacher, so I have a lot of experience of telling stories to young children. Choosing books for varying age groups at approximately 1 year of age, and children need very simple books, picture books without words, just a picture, it will suffice. And never say don't touch or not that way up. Children, obviously, very young children, won't understand what you mean. By 2 years of age, children are now able to follow a simple sequence of events which are familiar to them, either inside the home or outside. And story time with a well-loved adult enriches everyday learning for the child, and it creates a bond with a parent or a grandparent. The child learns to see, touch, listen and anticipate what's coming next. At 3 years of age, the child continues to find security in characters and events in the stories. And the picture books may now introduce the child to words and simple phrases. The child's memory is developing and they will enjoy repetition, lots of repetition, and the opportunity to join in with the story in some way. They will ask this for the same story again and again and again. Choose a picture book which has illustrations which tell the story in the correct sequence of events. The child's powers of reasoning are now not yet sufficiently mature to enable them to differentiate between fact and fantasy and reality. And so they're not yet ready for fairy tales and monsters, stories like that. They're for the older children. At 4 years of age, a child is now ready to concentrate a lot more on one character, or maybe 2 characters. And the stories help a child to gain security, confidence, and help in overcoming fears. Some stories are reassuring and tell how the smaller and the weakest can achieve something that the strongest cannot achieve. A story may explain a visit to the dentist or to the hospital or the doctors, and the child may get a lot of comfort from hearing stories like that. Things like a new baby arriving in the family or moving to a new home. And by listening to those events, the child may be better prepared and more able to accept a new situation or a new environment. At 5 years of age, now children are able to separate fact from fantasy, and they're ready to recall past events and to anticipate further ones. And now is the time to introduce fairy tales. Stories without pictures can be told as well, and these give the child the opportunity to make their own picture in their imagination. And last but not least, by 6 to 7 years of age, the child is now capable of concentrating for longer periods of time, and they will be beginning to read. At 6 years of age, the child is now capable of concentrating for longer periods and will be beginning to read. I have a grandson who's 6 years of age. He's actually reading fluently. And one of the reasons he's reading fluently is because he's been read to all his life, every day. Not just at bedtime, but at other times during the day, his parents read to him. Continue to read stories to the children at 6 years of age who are able to read for themselves, because you can actually choose more advanced books and books with more complicated sentences and vocabulary. The child's sense of humour is now more sophisticated, and they will enjoy a little twist in the story, and they will be able to take on and understand more complicated plots. Children are now ready for non-fiction picture books and are eager to absorb the facts about people from other countries, how things work, prehistoric monsters, and so on. You can go to our homepage, grandmacath.com, and download the PDF file. There you will see the books we have used.